Quiero terminar diciendo unas palabras en español porque yo soy guatemalteca con mucho orgullo, primero que soy americana.
So here's the story you're not going to hear honestly from certain media outlets. Congresswoman Delia Ramirez, the first Guatemalan American woman ever elected to Congress from Illinois, speaks at an international summit in Mexico City. In Spanish, she honors her roots, saying she's a proud Guatemalan before she's an American.
Think about the millions of immigrants who came here legally in the great industrial wave of the early 1900s. All the way to the 1950s, they were eager to be Americans, to be part of the melting pot. They spoke English in public. But man, a lot has changed.
I want to finish by saying a few words in Spanish because I am a Guatemalan with much pride before I am an American.
Fox News didn't just report the comment. They turned it into a loyalty test. They rolled the clip over and over, stripped it of context, and framed it like she was rejecting America itself. Guest after guest lined up, not to debate her ideas, but to attack her character, questioning her patriotism, her allegiance, and even her right to serve in Congress. This wasn't journalism. It was a public trial on national television. No evidence, no context, just a verdict. Guilty of being too proud of where her family came from.
Tom, that's Illinois Congresswoman Delia Ramirez. She tried to clean up her remarks, of course, then blamed white supremacy for the criticism of those remarks. Your reaction, especially given the great patriotism of our immigrants throughout the last 100 years.
Wow. Wow. I mean, she's a U.S. citizen, serving as a member of Congress, had the privilege of the U.S. citizens in her state that voted for her to represent them. So her first obligation is to that state and to the citizens that put her in that position, so shame on her.
Now, if you listen to the whole clip, not the cherry-picked soundbite, it's clear she's talking about heritage and identity. Something Irish Americans, Italian Americans, and yes, even presidents have done for decades without anyone questioning their loyalty. But here's what happened next. Conservative politicians and media outlets pounced, twisting her words into an America Last narrative. Social media lit up with hashtags calling for her deportation. Yes, deportation of a U.S.-born citizen. And now, Republican lawmakers are pushing to strip her from the Homeland Security Committee, a role she's been serving in while fighting for immigrant rights, disaster relief, and community safety.
Ramirez is the daughter of Guatemalan immigrants, but was born in Chicago. The comments sparked outrage among conservatives. Republican Representative Andy Ogles of Tennessee wrote on X, "Denaturalize, deport, and kick her off Homeland Committee." Ramirez serves on the Committee on Homeland Security in Congress. The official account for the Department of Homeland Security also weighed in, responding with a quote from Teddy Roosevelt that said there is no room in this country for hyphenated Americanism. Ramirez herself also now responding. In a post on X, she said, "Honoring my Guatemalan ancestry only strengthens my commitment to America." Ramirez has been a vocal critic of President Trump, especially when it comes to immigration policy. She called his administration a fascist government, called for Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to resign, and advocated for ICE to be defunded.
Let's be real here. When a politician of immigrant descent expresses pride in their roots, it's treated as treason. But when others do it, it's called patriotism with cultural pride. When the government starts punishing elected officials for speech, for identity, and for celebrating heritage, we're walking dangerously close to the territory of authoritarianism. That's not democracy. That's intimidation politics. And think about this. Using state power to silence or punish someone for what they say about who they are. Isn't that the very thing we criticize dictatorships for doing?
Life in the United States is profoundly changing, is profoundly different than it was even 6 months ago. Because we do now live in a country that has an authoritarian leader in charge. We have a consolidating dictatorship in our country. And it sounds melodramatic to say it, I know. But just go with that for a minute, right? Think in melodramatic terms. Think in cinematic terms. Imagine the cartoon-level caricature of what you think a dictatorship looks like. I mean, it's secret police, right? A massive, anonymous, unbadged, literally masked, totally unaccountable internal police force that apparently has infinite funding, but no identifiable leadership. and they act in ways designed to instill maximum fear and use maximum force. I mean, when you imagine an authoritarian country, right, what you imagine is masked secret police breaking people's car windows and snatching people off the streets and out of church parking lots and courtroom hallways and taking them away with no charges, no notice, no paperwork, no explanation, not letting them see lawyers, and then moving them secretly to what are effectively black site prisons, where they won't tell you who's there and where no one's allowed in to see what's going on.
We all know what defines a dictatorship: silencing dissent, punishing political opponents, controlling the narrative. Now look at what's happening here. An elected U.S. official, chosen by the people, is being targeted, smeared, and threatened with removal from her post, not because she broke the law, not because she betrayed her country, but because she dared to express pride in her heritage. If another country did this, Washington would be first in line to call it authoritarian. So tell me, if these are the warning signs we're taught to watch for abroad, why are we ignoring them when they're happening at home?
Listen, I lived through a right-wing dictatorship in Nicaragua, Somoza, and I lived as a child through left-wing dictatorship, the socialists, the Sandinistas. What do? They like to ration things, right? So the things that are coming out of Trump's mouth sound like rationing for the American people. I agree with you. He's not a socialist. What he is a authoritarian, and what he is a corrupt hypocrite. Attacks on the media, the attacks on the arts, the unwillingness to accept election results, the weaponizing of government against their opposition. Those are all things that dictators do. And so I will keep saying that he walks like a duck, he talks like a duck, and he looks like a duck.
And here's something even more alarming. This isn't just about Delia Ramirez. There's a disturbing new trend in U.S. politics, openly talking about revoking people's citizenship. It's not just aimed at undocumented immigrants anymore. We're seeing calls to strip citizenship from U.S.-born citizens, people like Rosie O'Donnell in past political feuds, and now Ramirez in this manufactured outrage. Think about that, the power to take away someone's identity as an American, not for treason, not for breaking the law, but for speaking their mind. That's not how a healthy democracy works. That's how you weaponize citizenship, turning it from a right into a privilege granted only to those who say what the powerful want to hear.
In a post on social media, President Trump saying he's considering revoking the U.S. citizenship of actress and comedian Rosie O'Donnell. The president also said that O'Donnell, who moved to Ireland in January, should stay there, quote, if they want her. End quote. The two have criticized each other publicly for years, predating Donald Trump's involvement in politics, by the way. Despite Trump's threat, the Supreme Court ruled in a 1967 case that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution prevents the government from taking away citizenship.
Just a quick note for you all. This channel is committed to responsible commentary. We strictly follow all of YouTube's community guidelines, and every clip you see is sourced from public media. If you appreciate that approach, please subscribe to stay with us.